Hi everyone, it's Nikki. Can you believe it? We are finally here on the last questions. Now we didn't have a number that divided equally into 6, so we've got a couple of extras tagged on for you today. So we'll be doing questions 73 to 79, which is going to finish this whole set of author questions. I know. It's been a lovely year doing them, but it's going to be a bit strange not to be doing any more. I'm going to keep an eye out and just see if I come across any other sets of author questions around the place that would work. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself too much with what I've already answered in these ones. Otherwise, if you guys have questions, if there's something that hasn't come up in all these videos that you'd like to ask me, pop them in the comments, and if I gather a few of them, I will make another little video and answer those for you, okay? In the meantime, let's crack on, shall we, and get this last little batch done. 73. In the voice of one of your characters, how would you describe a 9-hour flight? Okay, let me get into the character a bit first, and then I'll be with you. By hell, if I have to spend another minute with this obnoxious child behind me kicking my seat, I swear I'm going to gather up a good burst of hellfire and roast his ass. Damn it. I decided to get up and stretch my legs. I can't believe we were only 4.5 hours into this dreadful flight. What the hell am I supposed to do for another 4.5 hours in this cramped, horrible, awful economy class seat? I wandered to the toilets, which, as expected, are in a completely filthy state. But when you've got to go, you've got to go, so I have to put up with it. Why am I flying economy? Well, we're on the run, aren't we? I can hardly get business class seats. Tom and I, we'd be far too obvious. We'd be spotted a mile off. Demons like luxury, as you know. If we flew business class, they'd be on us in seconds. So, we've got to put up with this nonsense. Maybe I can find a film to watch. Perhaps 2. Maybe then we'll finally land. Okay, so that was that. That was Saul, for those that didn't recognise the voice and the references, from Souls for Sale, which I wrote as Astrodonia. So that was quite amusing. It was a bit off the cuff. I didn't plan what I was going to say in advance, so hopefully it makes sense when I play this back to edit, but we'll see. Question 74. Can you tell us about a future book that you're working on? This one I am going to leave because it's August, so I'm going to be doing a writer's update this month. And it's probably easier just to direct you to that. Since I'm filming it a bit in advance, I don't know exactly what I'm going to be working on at the time when this video actually posts. So I will put a link in the spiel below to direct you to that writer update post, and that will then give you all the info that you could possibly desire on the projects that I'm currently working on. Okay, let's move on. Question 75. If you could take any fairy tale and rewrite it as a full-length novel, which and how? I've actually done this, and I've done a few fairy tale retellings. I did the set of 6 that were in part of my Beastly Businessman and Guitar Gods book as Astrodonia, and I've done a few other just single retellings. I mean, all of them have been short stories. I haven't done one as a novel. I enjoy doing them. I mean, in terms of a novel, it's hard. I think it's really hard to turn a fairy tale into anything longer than a novella. And the reason for that is, I mean, there are exceptions to that, definitely. There's a few that have been done and have been done really well, but fairy tales in general, when you look at the original story, are a few pages long at most. So trying to turn that from maybe 4 pages into 400 is quite an ask. So I don't know if I'd ever write a novel on a fairy tale, but I mean, I'd certainly be open to doing more short stories or maybe an occasional novella length piece. But I've done most of the popular ones already. I've done Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Red Riding Hood, so I've covered a fair chunk of them. So if I was going to do something again, I'd probably pick maybe one of the more obscure ones, either from Grimm or Anderson, and perhaps not a story that people are quite so familiar with, and you need to look for something that would lend itself to a slightly lengthier retelling. So, question 76. When you look at your oldest writing, what surprises or embarrasses you? In terms of surprises, I mean, I'm often pleasantly surprised that I still like the story and characters. In most of my older works, and I mean, I'm talking, when I say older works, I'm talking maybe, 3-4 years ago. In most cases, I wouldn't change a lot about the story, the plot, or the way I presented the characters. However, the thing that embarrasses me and the thing that I would change is the prose. Obviously, as a writer, we're continually perfecting our craft and trying to improve, learning new techniques. One of my bad things in the past was verbosity. I used to just put more words into the sentence than the sentence really needed. And if I was rewriting any of those now, I would just trim that prose a bit. I just tighten it, trim it, lose a few words here and there, cut the overall word count down, but I wouldn't alter the story as such. So it's only the prose, and I think embarrass is maybe a bit strong. I definitely think I could write better now, and I think at the time I wrote it, that was good. I was at a good place, but since then I've improved, so I would change that now. But yeah, I think that's probably the only thing really, is just tightening that prose up. Question 77, how do you choose character names? I've done a whole post on naming characters. I love choosing character names. If it's a short story and it's more of a contemporary piece, I will usually just pluck a name out of the air that seems to fit my mental image of the character. However, if I'm writing fantasy works, paranormal works, or if I'm writing any longer works, so novellas or novels, then I like to pick character names that have some resonance to the story or to that character. If I've got a hero, is he particularly noble? Maybe, just as an example. So in the online name meaning sites, I'd look up names that mean noble or strong, or if it's a bad guy, maybe dark, or power. Something that works within the place that character holds in the story, with their journey or with their personality. So that's how I like to choose names. I like the names to mean something, especially in my longer works, so that the name has some bearing on how you perceive the character, assuming that you're into names and know what the meanings are or bother to check. But sometimes they're more obvious than others, but definitely that's something I like to do. So, question 78. If you could have a literary superpower, what special ability would help your writing? I think I'd really like to be able to dictate directly from my mind. Because so often, particularly if I'm lying in bed at night, just before I go to sleep, if I can't quite nod off, I'll start thinking about a story I'm working on, and sometimes I have really awesome ideas, in particular with things like scenes and dialogue. And I mean, I can't in the middle of the night sit and write all the dialogue down, but if there was some way I could capture that, and then I could come back and look at it again the next morning, that would be awesome, because I write some really great dialogue when I'm just drifting off to sleep, and then when I wake in the morning and try and recreate it, it's roughly there, but it's never quite as good. So I think I'd like to, just everything I think about could automatically be typed into my computer. And will you believe it, we are on the last question, guys. Question 79. What are the worst things that can break your concentration while writing? There's quite a lot, really. Social media being the worst one. I do tend to keep my phone with me, so if that pings, I can't help but look over and see what it is. And if it's something like Pinterest, then I'll ignore it. But if it's an email and that, there's part of me that always thinks, well, maybe I should check in case it's something important that I need to answer. So that's probably the worst thing that will break my concentration. I mostly try to write when I'm alone in the house, but if I'm forced to, like the only time I've got free is when my husband's here, him moving around or making noise or doing things can also affect my concentration. Lately he's been doing a lot of online courses to do with statistics and big data and things, and occasionally he has to watch videos that explain the new concept to him, and if I'm sitting there trying to concentrate on my writing and suddenly he starts one of those videos in the next room and I can hear the talk going on, then that's quite distracting too. But social media is probably the worst one, that I have to try and tell myself, don't look at that Facebook page for the next 2 hours. And on that note, I am actually going to go onto social media now, or onto the PC at least, and get these videos edited that I've just filmed today. after which I'm planning a 2-hour quiet time writing session. So on that note, I'm going to leave you, but it's been really great fun doing these author questions with you. As I said earlier, if you've got questions that weren't covered in these 79 that you'd like to ask me, please do pop them in the comments below. And if I gather a few of them, I will make another little video with those answers for you. If you've got any comments on the video, of course, pop those down there too. Otherwise, I'm going to have to think of something new to share with you all, aren't I? If I can't, we'll probably just drop down to the 4 videos a month, because I still have my end of the month book review one that comes out, you know, not too long after this one. So we'll see how we go. If I think of something great that will be new content, I'll do it. Otherwise, we'll just carry on with 1 a week from now on. So guys, I'm going to end at last. You're glad to be rid of me, and I'm going to go and get on with some of this editing. I will see you all next month, not with one of these sadly, but with my usual programming of vlogs. See you all then. Bye bye.